A project years in the making finally getting underway.
Yeah, today local leaders will break ground on a biomedical campus in the heart of downtown Wichita. 12 News reporter Max Dunn joining us from downtown Wichita this morning to break down the timeline for construction and what it means for the community. Max?
Yeah, in Britain, while they are actually breaking ground today, this project is going to take multiple years to complete. Wichita State has a goal of completing phase 1 construction by the end of 2026, then officially opening at spring of 2027. Now, take a look at some of these renderings, though. This is going to be located right in the heart of downtown Wichita at the intersection of Broadway and Topeka. The campus will be an 8-story building featuring a 3-story pavilion, classrooms, labs, student success center, lounges, and study spaces, offices, and meeting spaces. A lot there. Now, once construction is complete, it will combine Wichita State's College of Health Professions and Speech Language Hearing Clinic, WSU Tech's healthcare program, and the Wichita campuses of KU School of Medicine and KU School of Pharmacy all into one big facility. Now, phase 1, which is what will open first, is 355,000 square feet. There'll be 3,000 students and 200 faculty and staff members housed at the center with planned growth down the road. Wichita State President Dr. Richard Muma says the project will have a big impact on the Wichita economy.
Impact studies already. I believe it's going to support around 1,500 jobs, close to $60–70 million in additional economic activity. So there's those kinds of data available already that will demonstrate what this will do, and that's just from the early stages of the project. So it's probably even further beyond that.
That groundbreaking will start at 11 a.m. later this morning right behind me. The event is already at capacity, so it will not be open to the public. Guys.